searching for One Piece, the treasure that would make their dreams come true. Yo! Don't give it up, Luffy. Don't give it up, Solo.
Hey guys, welcome to MACS Chat. This is episode 5. Oh no, this is season 5, episode 2. Today's topic will be anime in mainstream culture. With me, I have.
Hi, hey guys, what's going on? My name is Ali. It's my first time here. Nice to meet you guys.
Hello, my name is Theo.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
Cool. Today's topic, so once again, just about anime in mainstream culture. Do you guys think anime is really mainstream now?
Dude, like, it's everywhere now. I remember back in the days, like when I used to talk about anime, especially like even what we consider really mainstream now, like One Piece. When you say One Piece to everyone knows it. But about like, I don't know, at least 15 years ago when I was in like primary school, when I said One Piece, no one knew what that was.
No, oh my god. Back in like when I was in primary school, everyone knew anime and everyone was like, if you like anime, you're a weird kid. Like, you're a weirdo.
No one talks to you.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know anime when I was in primary school. I only discovered it in year 7.
In year 7? Like
Yeah.
when it started getting more popular or like?
It wasn't that popular yet. Because a lot of people still didn't know it then. But definitely probably more than like primary school.
I remember like back when I was younger, you know, like when we thought of like people who watched anime, it was like those cringe kids who Naruto ran through like the high school.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like the image that people associated with it. And I was like, you know, stay away from me kind of vibes.
Like nowadays, I mean, because it's mainstream, right? Like when you get into anime, it's either like from your friends or like, you know, because it's just popular. It's something to watch into because it's like in Netflix everywhere. But how did you guys get into anime like back then when it wasn't that popular?
YouTube. I was an iPad kid. I found this video, like my YouTube recommended. It was like Attack on Titan something. I forgot what it was. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. Let me check out more of it. I watched it. I watched like Attack on Titan on crack or something on YouTube. And then I watched the real one. I was like, whoa.
Well, how old are you again?
I was like 10 years old.
Right. Ah.
Attack on Titan was 10 years ago?
I think so.
Was it?
I remember watching season 2 back in high school.
Oh, that's rough.
It was like
I remember
2014.
watching it. Yeah, I remember watching it when I watched the entirety of season 1. I don't know if season 2 was out yet though. But I watched it way back when, and my mom freaked out because she suddenly saw like my iPad screen when I was watching Attack on Titan. She's like, "What is this?"
Okay, that's pretty different to mine. I remember getting into it because I was watching well, you guys, okay, well, you're local, Rachel,
Yeah.
and then the rest of you two, like, international. There used to be this thing called Twisted TV, like, and it's like this, like, morning program that they ran for kids before, like, you know, before school starts, right? So, like, I think it would run from, like, maybe, like, 7 to, like, 8:30-ish, and then they would, like, I don't know why, but they started putting anime onto it. So I remember they had, like, you know, like, One Piece and, like, Naruto and stuff. But they had like, it was all in English. Like, it was all English voice actors. And they had, I don't know if you guys seen like the One Piece like hip hop style opening. Like, I don't know.
Is it like the 7 kids
Wait,
version?
what?
Yeah. The 4 kids
Oh,
version.
yeah, the 4 kids, not 7.
Yeah, so there's this One Piece opening. It's like, you know, localized, if you will, for you know, Americans and Australians. And it's like super like hip hoppy, like it turns more into like a gang type vibe, I suppose. Yeah.
Interesting.
Were
So,
the lyrics also in English, or did they?
The
just,
lyrics are all in, like, it was a completely new song, like everything.
Oh my god!
Because for me, the first anime I watched was actually on it's called ABC iView app. It was for watching kids shows and stuff. I watched my first anime on there, but I didn't know it was an anime until like a few years later.
you just thought it was a cartoon?
Yeah, it was just a show on there. I didn't really think much of it, but it wasn't until I got into year 7. So I actually discovered manga before anime because there's a thing at my high school where you kind of discovered a different genre each week during like this book reading section. And then one time it was like discover manga section. And then I was reading one. I was like, oh, it's really interesting. So then after the session, I decided to borrow like the rest of the series and read it. And then I realized when I searched it up, oh, there's an anime adaptation of this. So I was like, oh, let's watch it. What is anime? And then, yeah. And then I realized something I watched like a few years ago, that was an anime.
So it took you that long to like realize, oh, it's actually an anime and you actually liked it?
Yeah.
I suppose it's a bit like what, like Pokemon, right? Like Pokemon's really like
Right.
super
Yeah.
mainstream, but like when you first watch it, you never associate it as a anime, right?
Exactly.
I guess back then, like everyone, at least from like the channels, they maybe associated like those, maybe like they associate those like old animes like Doraemon, Shinchan, and like Ultraman even, and all those other places, like just as cartoons, like children's, like because we also had like that perception like anime equals cartoons, and like cartoons equals for kids, just for kids.
Yeah, because like way back when I was like really, really young, everyone knew Doraemon, everyone knew Shinchan, but nobody classified it as like specifically anime. It was just like another kids cartoon that they had. They had Indonesian dubs. Y'all don't know shit about the Doraemon Indonesian dub.
Don't worry. I got the Malaysian dub. It was equally as bad. Doraemon sounded like he was on like cigarettes, 12 packs a day.
I remember watching Doraemon in Chinese, dog, because they had the like the Chinese boxes to like watch Chinese channels on.
Yeah.
And they sold them here. And my parents were like super into that stuff.
I guess I'm the only one who didn't watch Doraemon as a kid.
Missed out. It was peak. Little blue cat.
It was fake. Everyone talks about the big three anime. Doraemon should be in it.
It was Blue Clues. It was Blue's Clues before I got to Blue's Clues. I think.
I just remember like the people's like that kid, his face is like super slanted and it's like super like
Sunil?
is that his name? I can't remember.
Like the I wouldn't say like the most Asian looking one, but like the sideways, the hair was like
yeah. Dude, that actor was like so peak.
it's like Giant's like crony, like the smaller friend, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Doraemon was peak. You should rewatch it. Or you should watch it.
I watched like some clips and bits and pieces of it, but never the whole thing. Yeah.
No, actually, Rachel, I'm curious because I know your taste in anime currently. What was your first anime?
A little embarrassing, but it was Oran High School Host Club.
Of course it is.
Of course.
Yep, of
Peak.
course.
I watched
Fiction,
that on
peak.
ABC iView. I do not know to this
It
day
was on
why it
TV?
was on there.
Ooh.
It was actually on the app because I had the ABC iView app. But yeah, I have
that's
no
big,
idea
that's
why
big.
it was on there.
But the ABC app is just like anime on the side plus like everything else.
It's like all the shows that were like running on the TV.
So every single show is like it goes from like anime to cartoons to like just live action shows, or
No, back when I watched it in primary school, it was mostly just cartoons.
alright.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't not think like, oh, this is a new thing.
Right.
That's why I didn't know it was an anime then.
I guess.
And it was all in English as well, so yeah.
Yeah, I guess it kind of speaks to the point like we tend to associate anime as very like kiddie culture. It's like it's for kids. And I think like it's only until recently that you kind of tend to associate it as more of a adult activity or something that adults can also like watch and partake in outside of Japan.
It's just that all the kids that grew up watching anime have already become adults at this point. Pretty much.
I guess maybe because I mean we had a lot of adult animes back then as well, but I guess the more popular ones, maybe like the popularization of like Pokemon did something to like people's images of it, because like what was the most popular anime you can think of back then besides like Pokemon?
Most popular anime back then,
Yeah.
like
I feel like this depends on like where you're from, because
also depends on how you define it. Like honestly, like Studio Ghibli was by far probably, not by far, but like one of the most popular ones for sure. But it's a movie; it's not necessarily a
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
we're talking about like way back when, everyone that I knew from like back home knows Dragon Ball.
Oh yes,
Mm.
okay, yes,
Yeah,
right, yes.
okay, that was a
Dragon
big
Ball.
one.
Dragon Ball's, I guess, it's also one of those animes you don't consider an anime.
You just like find it running, like find it playing when you come back home from school. It's on the TV, and you're like, "All right, this is peak fiction."
Mm-hmm. It's pretty bad on rewatch though. Just gonna say that.
What do you mean?
No, like if you actually rewatch it, like there's so much filler. The fights are so drawn out, and like for example, like you know the final fight between Frieza and Goku on planet Namek?
Yeah.
Dude, so it's like, we have 10 minutes left before this planet explodes.
Yeah, that's 5, 6, 7 episodes.
Yeah,
of,
something
like-
ridiculous.
Dude, I have to say I haven't rewatched Dragon Ball ever since I gained consciousness. But Dragon Ball fans, I got you. Pretty much every old anime has that much filler if you really think about it.
One Piece fillers.
One Piece literally has a whole fan project dedicated to cutting out the fillers because there's just that many.
Yeah, it's insane how much it has.
Okay, Dragon Ball. Well, you're comparing Dragon Ball like the Frieza on Namek fight. Yeah, it's a bit short. But when you compare it to like, for example, the fight from like the latest Dragon Ball, the Universal Tournament arc of Dragon Ball. Oh my god, the fight with Jiren and everyone else, the fillers is almost comparable to. Well, nothing compares to like One Piece fillers still though, because you guys remember like the Dressrosa arc.
Oh my god.
I have
Dude,
not watched
There
One
was this
Piece.
one part where like Usopp was trying to aim at a window, and he was aiming and pulling back his slingshot for about 3 to 4 episodes. It's just that.
Yeah. I one paced Dressrosa arc. So One Pace is the fan project that like cuts out all the fillers. I used that for the Dressrosa arc, and it was still unbearably long. Like it was like 20 hours. Pardon?
Huh.
What about Naruto?
Okay, Naruto filler is pretty terrible. And Naruto filler doesn't even make sense. They introduce characters like, I remember I got so annoyed because they kept introducing characters and like it was just like the plot lines were so bad, the characters were so bad, and it just like loaded up the content.
We have like, I guess I categorize it to like different types of filler. There's the lore or like world building filler where you just like, it's a break, like they're in the middle of like a fight, and then sometimes suddenly like they have a beach episode, and then it's like, oh wow,
The beach episode.
wow, okay. I mean, it's a filler episode, but like we get to see them like day to day life. I guess so, like I'll allow it because I get to know more about the characters. But then there's like the unforgivable fillers, like One Piece, like some parts of like One Piece. They just draw out the entire thing because I don't know. They're trying to gather up the budget for like 4 weeks or something. They're waiting for approval from the bank. I don't know. But and then there's like the other type of the third type of fillers, which is like just the NSFW fillers. Oh my god. When I was small, I watched like. Have you guys watched like Kyoto Gunso?
Nope.
Like
No.
there's this frog. It's basically like it looks like it's for children. It's just an army of like 4 frogs. It's like like Kowalski, Rico, Private, and like everyone
The
there.
penguins of
Yeah,
Madagascar?
basically like the penguins of Madagascar, but turn them into frogs. It's just 4 or 5. There's a lot of them, but even if it's like it looks like it's geared towards like children's, and then there's always like either like one beach episode, one sauna, or some other episode. It's just
Central.
dedicated solely for fan service. I'm like, oh no, my childlike brain cannot process.
Dude, actually, now that we're talking about like how anime has become so mainstream and you just get anime recommendations from like normal functioning members of society, you remember way back when? Okay, maybe I'm the freak. There was a rite of passage which was getting recommended Boku no Pico.
Oh,
Dude, I'll match that freak. Holy shit!
I do remember that. For context, have you watched it? Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Scarred.
Yeah, for people who don't know in the audience, don't know what Boku no Pico is. It's
Don't search it up.
yeah, don't search it up, but it involves like several little boys and an adult, and it's supposed to be
Fill in the
consensual.
blanks. Fill in the blanks.
But yeah, it's very, very questionable.
I was like new to anime then someone recommended me that, and then I was like, I don't want to watch anime anymore.
There's a lot of shocking anime as well.
I feel like anime went through a phase in the 2000s, like in the 10s, where like kind of really intertwined with like really NSFW stuff. Like, I guess going back to what we were talking about, like what we used to associate with weebs. So on top of being like the kid who like Naruto runs through like the playground, but like also like a legit like a bit like the WoW people who play WoW, like like basement dweller, like degenerate, horny,
The
like
neck
The porn
beards.
addicts.
yeah. That used to be the image of like weebs back in the day, and like, oh, I want to go to Japan. They'll accept me, like those type of vibes.
I'm gonna go to Japan and get myself a beautiful Japanese wife.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like it was like pretty much used as a lot of like an insult, especially like what you were saying, all those connotations. But I think it was slightly better for me just because I was like a girl, so they weren't that much like pressing on it. I feel like, especially for like guys who watched it, it was a lot worse, the image.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, I'm going to go against that and say being a girl in the anime community is hell. You might not get much hate from like people who are like normal or whatever, but like within the anime community itself, oh my god, misogyny, sexualization, harassment, I've been through it all. Name it, I've gone through it.
Anime is very male dominated, especially online,
Yeah.
like the community.
Not even that, but also like when you go to conventions and there's like I've seen this happen where like there's like this weird ass dude just like I'm going to describe to you a very specific kind of man. He has his hair up like that and he's got like a musty ass shirt on, like a hoodie over it, like that'll hide like the fucking cheeseburger remains on his shirt. Taking photos of like girls without their consent and shit. Like okay, maybe it's not as common here, but like back home, oh my god, I can spend hours talking shit about things that happen at conventions.
Do you think it's in part like overplayed by anime as well? Because there's a lot of like fan service. There's a lot of like,
Yeah,
I mean, if you're not careful, it can lead to like the down like just porn addiction route because of all like the fan services and like all the available content online.
dude, no, yeah. Every time I see like a One Piece cosplayer, like a female One Piece cosplayer, there's always going to be at least one comment that's gonna be like her boobs aren't big enough.
Mm. I feel like, well, I remember seeing like TikTok recently about like cosplay culture, where it's like, you know, what's actually important in a cosplay? Is it they have to look hot or does it have to be accurate? Because I remember, I think it was Asmongold. I don't know if you guys know him. Like, he's like a really big streamer, and he was just like, "Oh, what's the point of cosplaying if you're not going to look hot?" And I was like, I feel like that's not necessarily like the point, but
Depends on the cosplayer, I guess. Some people cosplay
Depends,
just for
yeah.
the passion because I cosplayed once because I really, really, really liked the character. And it was, for context, I cosplayed like someone from like Hoseki no Kuni, the Land of Lustrous.
Ooh.
And I think I cosplayed Diamond. And just because I really, really like the character and like the character development and like their arc. But yeah, some people just cosplay to look hot. It's up to them, honestly.
To be honest, my take on this is just that the anime community gatekeeps too much.
mm.
They have started gatekeeping cosplaying, and it's like, dude, shut up.
I've heard back then, like even in the cosplay circles, it's like it gets pretty toxic sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, what happened to having fun, guys?
Mm. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of, well, I guess in part because anime in general has been an escape for a lot of people, or like, you know, for whatever reason, and I think they kind of internalize it and take it out on the rest of the anime community because anime itself is quite, you know, it's even more fantasy-esque than like, you know, actual like reality TV shows or like stuff like that. And it's for people to, you know, distract themselves for whatever's going on in their lives.
Speaking of, yeah, you said about escapism, like anime is an escapism, but you know, like how certain like years there's like a predominant genre that's the most popular. For example, like around the 2015s, 2010 to 2015s, like the isekai genre was huge. Before that, it's like I think it's like the shock factor and like fantasy, and then way before that, and I can't really say much for anime that's like 2005 and below because I haven't watched that yet. I was like really small. So maybe like the predominant genre, like for example, like isekai being really popular is like because again, like nowadays people just want to escape. Back then, and then sometimes like the romance genre was really big when Ouran High School was out. Like there's the Kyowa Maid Sama, and then there's like the Oreimo, all the episodes, and it's all just about like romance, and like infinite straighters, and like there's also like the harem part of it, which is like pretty annoying. Which is, I can't stop finding like harem anime here, harem anime there, and then like reverse harem here. Bro, just let me find like my mecha anime.
It'd be like the most peak anime of your life, and you'll have a harem tag,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Like you're so into the world building, and then there's like some stupid unnecessary romance plot that they never talk about again after like 4 episodes.
You'll read like the synopsis of it, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be peak," and then you get jump scared. The middle. No, actually though, have you guys used anime as an escapism ever?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's
Anyone
pretty
gonna
natural.
elaborate? Anyone gonna elaborate on that?
No.
I mean, I think for me it was like, you know, when I was in high school and then like I was pretty stressed out, and like I guess watching anime was a good way to distract myself. I didn't have to think about work. Didn't have to think about like high school, like my high school problems or high school work. And I just watched anime, turn my brain off. Like, what's the word? I guess to an extent it got pretty brain rot. Like, there's like when you really think about it, like there's a lot of good quality anime I was watching, but there's also like some that were like not that great, pretty low quality. Just like it was just filler garbage.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I guess it's like, are you weird for watching anime, or are you watching anime because you're weird, kind of thing? It's like for example, like
This is some like ghetto and
Are you Satoru
Gojo.
Gojo because you just
I love you.
are you Satoru Gojo because you watch anime? But yeah, because like I watched anime back then too, because I was the weird kid, like zero friends, a typical like just close your eyes right now and just imagine like the nerdiest kid you would bully in school, and that's just basically me, like zero friends. And I was like, I'm more naturally drawn to like the anime at the time because like because anime sometimes like some of them has like this big topic of like friendship and like being close with your buddies and like staying true to each other. So that's why like I was so drawn to like animes like One Piece, Fairy Tail. Every fighting arc is just about like friendship.
Yeah.
And then there's also Dragon Ball and all the other stuff. And then and then from there I started like devolve into like the more degenerate anime. And then now I'm just bouncing back again.
Yeah, I think anime really does feed into that escapey like vibe, because like if you quite look at like all the different genres, I guess it's not necessarily limited to anime. But like, you know, like when you watch anime, you know, look at all these friends. Look at this power fantasy. Like, he's like, you know, he's in a shit situation, but you know, he got some insane power up or something like that, right? Like, I think it really, you know, feeds that vibe of distracting you, making you feel like you have friends, making you feel like, you know, you're better, you're stronger.
Like you're living vicariously to them.
For me, it felt like I was escaping a lot from like the pressure of like studying, and it was like kind of a way to, I guess, relax in a sense. Because like in primary school, I used to read a lot of books, but then like by reading a lot of books, everyone just sees you in the library all the time. That also created sort of an image that I didn't really enjoy. But in high school, when I discovered anime, like I had a few friends who was also in anime, but majority of the time it was like I would watch anime by myself. So it's more of like I can do this alone without people really like looking into it, which is kind of like what I liked from it. And just like all the different genres is like, if I'm feeling like a certain way today, I can pick this genre, so it'll just help change my mood. Yeah.
Way back when I first got into anime, my first anime was Attack on Titan, and back then internalized misogyny was beating my ass. I was not winning those allegations. And I currently right now my escapism like anime is like shoujo anime, actually. That's why I said Oran High School Host Club is peak. Dude, I wish I was Haruhi. Man, to have a blonde twink. I'm gonna stop there actually, wait. Anyways. Shoujo anime, Nana is actually my comfort anime. I don't know if you guys have heard.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure like if you've been in TikTok for the past year, you probably have seen it. But it's about two girls who have the same name, and one of them is searching for love, the other one is searching to be a rock star. And I love that anime because it just makes me feel so seen. Even in the parts where like I logically think that the characters are like, okay, you're doing something stupid, but you're so me though.
I think it's all of it. Just like the pleasure of watching is just like that's me.
That's literally me. That's me. I love watching Nana because whatever day I might be having, I know that Nana Osaka is having a worse one.
I feel like for me though, when I was like reading all the shoujo manga, it was like, oh my god, this is so idealistic. I wish that could happen to me.
Dude, yeah. Oh my god.
But like, I'm stuck in reality.
Dude, me reading Paradise Kiss, I'm like, I'm gonna cut my bangs short, and I'm gonna be like, where's my bisexual bluehead situationship?
I feel like I never got into like slice of life or like anything more modern day for me.
Have you watched Nichijou?
Oh, I think I read it, but I didn't finish it.
There's like Nichijou, Danseikoku Nichijou, and then we have Sket Dance, and now is the Shikanoko.
Oh yeah, I did watch Skit Dance and I did watch Danshi Kokosei.
All those were just like, to me, like peak slice of life funny anime, because I don't know why somehow I didn't get into watching Gintama, so like that's how I make up for it, I guess.
I never got into Gintama either.
It's too much of a shit post.
Right?
Dude, my friend is watching Gintama right now, and they've been sending me like gifs from the show, and I'm like, what is? It's a fucking fever dream.
It is.
Every time I see clips of the I don't know if you guys seen it, like they're like snowboarding, but they have like the penile break.
Yeah. So basically,
What?
imagine a surfboard. So they were skiing down a slope, but imagine like a surfboard. The anatomy is almost the same. So a surfboard has like the fins at the top and then the fin down there, and basically, in Gintama, they were skiing down a slope and they were looking for something to ski on, and they just took these guys and then just made them like turn into skateboards. And the way they like navigate, the way they ski down the slope and like
They weren't trying to navigate; they were trying to slow down.
yeah, they were trying to slow down. They just basically like made them like erect.
They're like, oh, what's this line behind us? Like in the snow.
Wait, that's where it's from? I've seen that quote somewhere. That's where it's from?
I think so, yeah.
It was just like did they like pull some? I think they pulled something.
They pulled the underwear.
Like they pulled the underwear, so it made them erect, and that erection like slowed down in the snow. But then it became like a line, and it turned into just red. And they were like, "Why is it red?"
So for context, like, so at the end, like they were like skiing, like, oh, like, what's actually like causing us to slow down? Like it was like, oh, just magically pulling these pants makes us slow down. And like, and then they realized it was like the penises, and then they went off a ramp, and then they landed, and then there was a puddle of red afterwards, and they were like,
Dude, I can see Rachel, like, a headache forming inside her right now.
I'm questioning why I'm here right now.
Pull up the clip. Pull up the clip.
I don't think I want to see.
it's a great clip.
It was like a person whose taste in anime is like Ouran, High School Host Club, and Haikyuu listening to us.
Like the normal dramatic development, character development, you know, the hero's journey
Yes,
circle. And then we have fucking Gintama. I don't even know what to classify Gintama as.
I think it is a bit of a hero's journey, no. But that's like if you go to the back, if you
No, it's
ignore
so
the
whack.
comedy,
It's like once in a blue moon they get serious, and like the fight scene with like, you know, Gintoki like actually fighting seriously, and I'm like, oh, this is peak. Then the next episode is just them like, I don't know, dancing in the sun.
I feel like people who like Gintama, they should be in their own category.
Yeah.
I feel like Gintama is not necessarily unique though. It's like it's not the same as what Samurai Champloo. Very similar vibes. I don't know if you guys have watched that one. Where it was like technically it's quite serious. Like it's about like, you know, these two samurai and like this one girl trying to find the girl's dad. But then they get into like a baseball episode, for example, where they're playing baseball. Like it's set in feudal Japan, and they're playing baseball with a bunch of Americans, and it's so over the top. And it's even a whole episode where they cause like a zombie apocalypse, and then it's like not canon. Like I think, yeah, there are these shows which have serious undertones, but execution, or like they have a lot of like out of the blue comedy. Yeah.
Now that I'm realizing how much of freaks like three of us are, I would like to raise a question. How do we feel about Jujutsu Kaisen fans present day?
I cannot match their freak. I cannot.
Okay, Lobotomy Kaisen is one of the funniest communities I've ever seen in my life.
They have like the Miwa agenda where like they fucking yap about like theories and then devolve slowly into just weird random tangents, and then like they have the character supremacy.
Like the whole like agendas that they have for like certain characters, and then just like how like they like diffuse into like other communities is so funny.
And then calling other characters they don't like frauds, like fraud. Sukuna's a fraud. Hakari is a fraud. He's still fighting Uraome, making like 3 kids in the back.
Dude, I'm like Kishima is a farmer bum.
Oh my god.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like they kind of scare me. Just how much they get into it.
Wait, which ones though? Because there's different kinds of JJK fans.
There's the thirsty ones, and then there's the lobotomized ones.
There's the JJK daughter and the JJK son.
Yeah. Do you want a JJK daughter or do you want a JJK son?
Can I pass them both?
There's 2 JJK sons in this chat right now.
Little Rikasen is great. Nah, I would win. It's such a great meme.
Oh my god.
Dude, there was this Mahoraga cosplayer that went to SmashCon, like full on Mahoraga, and he had this speech bubble that was like, nah, I'd adapt.
It's so fucking peak.
Wait, have you guys? This is more manga territory. Wait, have you guys caught up like Mahoraga and like Sukuna?
I've caught up with Yuta and
Yeah,
Gojo.
yeah. Now I've seen all these memes about what was it, Mahoraga as Sukuna's lawyer is so funny.
Yeah. Holding the gavel.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like JJK is actually, now we're talking about JJK, I actually think it's pretty interesting anime to talk about regarding mainstream culture. Because I think it's honestly one of the most degenerate anime you'll ever see in your life, like community wise. But it's also probably one of the most mainstream ones right now. Like, if not, like, the mainstream one.
Depends on where you are, I guess, because I think in Japan right now, we have the Kimetsu Yaiba, we have the Demon Slayer movie coming out. It came out already. And, like, it's so big on, like, almost the same par as, like, JJK as well. And I think that, like, the shonen formula is so easy to get right, and like it's so easy to pick up as well. Like you don't have to like dive into all these philosophical parts. You just watch it for fun. It's so easy to like get into it as well.
I feel like I do feel like Kimetsu no Yaiba is very like, I think you can get some lessons out of it. Like, I think you're not necessarily meant to like watch it with your brain fully turned off.
Yeah, but it's something that you can though if you want to turn it off. And like, for example, like if I want to watch Kimetsu, easy. Like it's just very straightforward. Tanjiro wants to fight demons. The end. If I'm watching like a mecha anime, for example, like why isn't like Gundam more popular? Like we have like certain parts. I mean, it is like pretty popular to us, but it's not like as big as like JJK right now. And like I think you have to go through like several chapters and like take a whole semester course on just to catch up on that.
Yeah, I mean Gundam's very political. A lot more moving parts to it. Versus I kind of agree with that. Like Demon Slayer, it's overall the story story structure is quite straightforward. You just have one big bad, and you have the main character like pushing himself towards it.
I do remember, like, back in 2020, I think this was around the time that anime became super duper mainstream, probably because of, like, COVID and everyone stayed home and everyone just had nothing to do. I remember Jujutsu Kaisen being really popular, and then Haikyuu. So many people got into Haikyuu during the pandemic. And, God, what else? I want to say Bungo Stray Dogs, but I don't know if that was just my community or not.
I think it was popular, but I don't think it was like.
I think
it was rising, but it didn't break the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I thought Bungo Stray Dogs was a bit earlier than pandemic.
I think.
Really?
I'm trying to think. In that time, would it be My Hero? No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, My Hero. Oh my god.
I felt Bungo.
I just got flashbacks to the My Hero Academia TikToks.
Oh yeah. I feel like My Hero was actually really like super duper mainstream, and then like the community just got so degenerate. Like,
no, yeah.
I keep seeing like those freaking those the
Bakudeku ship.
Oh no, like the Deku voices, like.
Oh my god.
Hey, my kitten.
Oh, no,
Not right now, kitten. Daddy's busy.
Stop it.
Can I take my headphones off?
They're very so uncomfortable.
Can I take my headphones off?
But I mean, yeah, I think like it's really odd to see how like mainstream anime just goes like over time it just turns degenerate, I guess.
No, but the thing is, right, Jujutsu Kaisen is also decently degenerate in this fan base, but it's still like a decently, well, at least from the way I see it, normal functioning people like Rachel would still decently like be like, oh, yeah, fine, this is okay.
I don't like Jujutsu Kaisen.
That's a pretty normal
That's a
reaction.
pretty normal reaction. That's a pretty normal reaction. But like, I don't know. I feel like normal functioning members of society would still be like, yeah, this is whatever. My Hero Academia has such a bad image now. Like, not even just amongst anime fans. I could call up like any of my friends right now who don't watch anime, and I ask them, what do you think about My Hero Academia fans? And they would reply with like a whole paragraph.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why it turned like that.
And what causes the degeneracy? Is there like a plague?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of it was, look, I'm not a hater. Disclaimer. Do what you want, do what makes you happy. I feel like a lot of it was Bakudeku.
It started from there.
I feel like it was always there from the start.
No, because I used to watch it like when it first came out, but then by like maybe like season 2, season 3, it kind of just like dropped off for me at least. And then that went like after that was when it was like kind of went overboard. So then I was like, yeah, I'm not into it anymore. Like not as much as like when it first came out, especially. I felt like it was like pretty interesting when I first started watching it, but it's like later seasons got to, it just became like, oh, really overboard and
Right.
You're just like non-committing,
yeah.
like commitment issues.
I feel like
No, because I usually, if I get really into something, I like full on commit to it. But that just didn't happen with My Hero Academia.
Fair.
Because I was pretty into it, and I had quite a few characters I really liked. So usually for like, by that point, I would be like totally into the series. But for some reason, I just kind of dropped off like later on.
I kind of feel like yeah, My Hero was like really, really good up until like season 3, season 4. I think after, what was it, the overhaul arc?
Yeah, after that.
Because I think people were saying like the quality really dropped off on the anime. I guess I kind of feel like maybe it's like people who are more mainstream, who watch more mainstream anime, or like because they're just watching like something that's because it's good, right? Like they kind of like turned away from it, and so only the degenerates were kind of left. And kept the community going.
So it's the diehard fans that turn into like degenerates and like fanatics.
Or maybe they were always degenerates. The high fans were always degens.
It's like the surface level is now gone, so you see the stuff underneath.
You peel back the rug and you see all the dust and like all the crap you've swept under the rug.
I'm sorry, throughout this whole discussion of My Hero Academia, I've been holding back my laughter because I haven't consumed a single episode. I just know about it through the Deku voice and the Bakugo ASMRs. Because everyone is like hating on them constantly, and I just always see them on my feed. I'm like, why?
Because it's cringe, but like not the funny cringe. Because like when you talk about like JJK and you have the oi 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 TikTok meme, it's funny cringe. But when you go to like the Deku, like not now, daddy's busy ones, it's just cringe.
Did you not just do the Deku voice like 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, but like now it's funny cringe. But
it's
like,
funny when I do it.
Yeah, it's funny when I do it. But back then, when I kept seeing it over and over again, I'm just, oh, nah, no thanks.
I think it's always interesting as well. Like, I think when it comes to mainstream anime, they tend to be a lot of like people's first anime because then like they hit mainstream, right? I remember just thinking back to like Sword Art Online. I don't know if you guys
Oh my god.
watched it when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of things that we say about Sword Art Online when it first came out is a lot of similar things that we said about, I mean, yeah, My Hero now. Like My Hero, like when it was coming. Like, I think because it was mainstream, because it appealed to a lot of people, and like to like qualitatively, you can argue it was good. Like, we tend to like, I guess the hardcore people put it down, but then it was still like mainstream. And then I think over time, it's like, I guess people like kind of revisit it and like, oh, it's not that good, but like.
Guys, can we take a break? I can't stop thinking about the Deku voice.
We don't have time. There's no stopping this.
And we send you voicemail.
No!
I guess like SAO like actually tossed me into like full throttle. Like I just fully like jumped into the anime sphere after that. I still think like the first season, like the first show of like SAO, that one was still pretty good. But then when they went to like the second season, the Elf arc, then it started like going downhill, and then like it went to like GGO, like the Gun Gale Online one, and I'm like, no thanks, I'm done.
Putting that there, I've never watched Sword Art Online, not a single episode. I was like, this is too normie for me. I'm not watching it.
I have not watched Sword Art Online, but during that same time frame, I was watching Black Butler.
I mean,
I haven't watched Sword Art Online either, but I had friends who watched it, so I kind of got told as they watched it along. So I was kind of like, I don't know how this sounds to me. So then I didn't end up watching it.
I think when we talk about like big, like I guess like genres defining like certain years, I think Sword Art Online's definitely kickstarted that one of like the MMOs.
Yeah.
like Isekai one as well, right?
I guess you can argue it was the first isekai, but like
But I feel like it didn't really catch on. Like Isekai's a bit more recent than
yeah,
SAO.
yeah, isekais are I guess a little bit different story structure.
Yeah, yeah.
There was also like No Game No Life, right?
I'm still
I
waiting
love
for
that.
season
Yeah,
2.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
love
still
that.
waiting.
No game, no god.
I love how we all matched each other's freak on that.
It's such a shame that he's a plagiarizer.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like that's why there's no second season yet. He got caught for like plagiarizing some parts. And so like production just stopped.
I did not know this lore.
The light novel community is pretty intense.
Oh, the light novels.
Oh, is there anyone in the audience that can match my freak? My canon event in anime was Death Note.
Yeah.
I want Inuyasha.
Oh, Inuyasha.
I think my main one, or like the kickstart for me, would be Bleach.
Fair.
I watched it all in
That's so
dubbed,
real.
so don't kill me. But like 200, I think it was like it's like 300 episodes in dubbed.
Would you consider Ultraman an anime? Because that was what got me into like the whole Japanese like dub. Because I tried to like listen to like the opening and like the ending, and I was like, wait a minute, this isn't in Malay. This isn't in my language. What language is this? So I just put my ear to the TV and I just heard, oh, so this is Japanese.
Bro heard a language that wasn't Malay for the first time in his
I
life.
was, oh my god. I think I wasn't old enough to like gain consciousness. You know, like when you reach that age where like, you just immediately like come into existence, like consciously, like, whoa. And you just look at your hands and like, oh, I'm a human. And like before that age, you just like cruise along.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
So I say Ultraman was my first canon event.
I think for me, it might actually have been Fairy Tail.
Peak.
To be honest, Fairy Tail was so like for something so simple, it was so good. It did it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I never got into Fairy Tail, but it was one of those animes where like it would just be playing on TV, and I would just like know some episodes, but never the full plot.
I watched a lot of the anime, and then I moved on to the manga, and then, I don't know, at some point, like, because there was a whole arc in the anime which wasn't in the manga, and I think from that point I kind of just dropped off from the anime.
And you went straight to the manga.
Yeah. Like, I was already reading the manga beforehand, but when that, like, anime arc came out, I was like, this has nothing to do with the manga, so I was just like, okay, I'll just stick to the manga from then on.
Should we talk about like the anime to like manga to like light novel pipeline?
Anime to manga to light novel pipeline.
Okay, that's pretty big there. You're
Pretty
putting
big
on
topic.
you're putting on a lot of issues here.
I mean, I guess we can't talk about too much, but I think we can kind of. I think it's interesting because I think manga will get more and more mainstream over time. Like, I think it's still pretty underground for now. Well, it's not even underground really, but like it's. I guess in terms of being mainstream, it's not as common as anime. I think.
When it becomes more accessible, I think definitely. Because manga is still like in the early stages, like what anime had back then. Remember, like when you wanted to watch anime online, you had to go like watchnarutoonline.com, watchop.com.
Dude,
Don't go to those websites.
Kiss
I don't think
Anime.
they're still there.
Me currently, I'm at Read Sakamoto Days online right now.
Yeah,
There's an
so
open
like
tab.
if you're really that deep into manga, then you start to like discover like the Mihon app, the Tachiyomi app, and then like like manga decks, and then you're like, a whole new world open for me, and then it's more accessible.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think even in terms of like underground stuff, I think also in terms of like actual accessibility, like I think it's actually still really hard to buy and still prohibitively expensive to buy manga.
Right.
But as anime, like dude, I pay for Crunchyroll. It's like, you know, pretty cheap. Like, you know, $12-15.
Yep.
And that gives me like a whole library of anime. Or even if I get Netflix, you know, even though I'm not buying it for anime, I still get to see anime on it. Like,
And sometimes it's a matter of like translations as well, because like some companies, like for example, they just translate it like the level of translation quality is like a bit mediocre compared to like fan translations. Sometimes they provide like context between like why they do this, or like a asterisks down there. It's pretty cool.
The, like side notes.
Yeah.
They're so good.
yeah. I was gonna say like, I guess talking about mainstream, like still talking about mainstream culture. So rather than going back, do you guys like talk to anyone who like lived through the 2000s or not really? Like
2000s? What do you mean?
like people in like their 30s.
People who were conscious in the 2000s.
Yeah, do you guys talk to anyone like that?
I mean, I had one friend, but what they went through is basically like the same development like we did, but it's just more like on the low key. It's less like it's less of a like conversational topic outside of like anime conventions and like gaming space. So like if you're like on, for example, like MSN Messenger or like AOL or like any of those like messenger apps, then you can talk about it. For like if you play like MapleStory or like if you're in game, then it's something you can talk about. Most like it's more likely for someone to have watched anime if they're like inside like a game lobby just sitting around chatting around. And yeah, I don't think there's that much of a difference. They did the same things. They cosplayed. They had access to like a lot of animes. I guess the only difference is that again accessibility, because back then the most they had was they had to buy mangas. So like my friend had like a whole like at least 20 to like 40 volumes of like just Conan and the manga, and it's either that or they just watch it on TV, because in Malaysia at least we have a TV channel solely dedicated to like anime. It's called like MACS.
Oh my god, we had that too in Indonesia.
Yep, I think it's like a Southeast Asian kind of thing, where like we have one specific channel for just anime, and it's more geared to like the more later it is towards the night, the more like adult-ish animes come out with like a bit of fan service and everything, and like the more kids anime like Doraemon, Shinchan, Ninja Hattori, Chibi Maruko-chan, we have that on like the news channel. So like for example, like you guys have like 9 News and everything, right? We have like TV9 and like TV7, and after I think like I guess it's like before the news starts, 2 hours before the news starts, they play 1 hour of Doraemon, 1 hour of Shinchan, and then the news.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like my experience has been a bit different. Like talking to people in like their 30s and stuff. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like they have way less exposure to anime, in my opinion. It's just because, like, maybe just here in like Australia, it wasn't really a big thing until more recent. And even like the people who got into it earlier, it was like a smaller group. Like you had to, like, there was like something else that got you into it. It's like kind of like a segue thing, whereas like it wasn't just you can get straight into anime like as it is now. Because even though like I'm 22, but like just speaking to someone over like 30, I feel like it's a massive difference from like how much we know about anime during like growing up stages. I feel like just like it, like in a few years, like anime became like crazy big here. Like the jump from like almost nothing to a lot of stuff was like really quick. Hence why there's such a difference, even though like we don't have many years difference. But everyone I've talked to that is like slightly older, they don't really know much.
You can probably recite the ones they've seen on TV or something similar, but not outside of that. Like for now, because I forgot when my anime list came out, but when that came out, everyone can just like search the seasonal ones, sort by rank, rate their own, make their own playlist. And Yeah, definitely. Nowadays, like if I talk to my like other friend who's like, like around like 29, 30-ish, and I told them about like this really old anime from like the 1980s, they wouldn't really like probably have seen it. But then again, like I've reached the age where like I want to find like shitpost anime, because this is one anime called like Ziggy. It's from like 1980s or something, and like they actually had to ask permission from like the real life band Ziggy to be like to like be the characters inside the anime, and I think like only 15,000 people watched that anime, and it was like basically a flop when it came out, and it's just so bad, but it's bad in a good way. It's kind of like you're watching The Room, and it become like a cultural icon kind of thing, where like the Ziggy anime basically starts off like 4 band members, and then they came to like the UK, but not the UK because everyone speaks Japanese there for some reason, and then they had to fight Nazis, and then and then after they fought the Nazis, it became like a detective criminal kind of thing, and then to the power of rock and roll, they like persevered and like they win in the end. It's like Camp Rock and like The Room mixed together, levels of like cheesiness.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know how we got here, but like, I only mentioned about people like over 30. Like literally just to say a point about like, I had a friend. He in his like when he was in the 2000s, he had like Final Fantasy hair, like
Oh no!
Oh
Like,
my god.
Does
like,
it cover
well-
one eye?
yeah, like one like super long,
Oh
super
my
floppy, like.
god.
And then he was like, oh, I hate weebs.
Hmm.
And I was like, you cannot be serious. If you wore that sort of hairstyle, he was telling me he spent hours in like in the bathroom, like getting ready to go out. He's like, I look so sick, but I hate weebs. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
He's committing to the bit. He's a legend. I like
mean,
him.
I don't think it goes to the point of like, I guess talking about like that pipeline of games to manga to light novels. I mean, no, to anime to manga to light novels.
Yeah.
I think the step before, well, like at the time was video games. I think video games tend to be the entry point into Japanese culture for most people in that time period. Particularly Final Fantasy 7, Mario, stuff like that.
Yeah, Mario, and then we had like,
yeah.
especially when like the Nintendo DS, we had like Chrono Trigger, and then we had again like all the other Final Fantasy games. I only played that much, and yeah, I guess yeah, it like
Yeah,
it's a soft introduction.
yeah, and it's just like mainstream culture was like like only like Japanese culture that could be mainstream was just games. I think back then.
I think sadly for me, I never had a Nintendo DS or anything like that, or like Wii or any sort of things like that. So that's why like my kind of introduction to anime was actually from high school and not primary school, as mentioned before, because it was like I knew these games existed, but I didn't really know much about them because I never got a chance to play them. I just like heard everyone else talking about them. So yeah,
They were really big in like like ABC subculture.
yeah.
Like if you ever go back in time to like watch like My 20 or like you
Like I know what it is now, but as a kid, I did not know what like all this like game stuff was, because it was kind of like I was always told like, oh, no gaming, no TV, that shit.
To be honest, you're not missing out much. It's pretty cringy when you look back at it.
I've seen a lot of it, and I was like kind of questioning.
Yeah, I'm luckily I wasn't too conscious. I don't remember too many Asians with that hair walking around, but yeah, it was something. Yeah, it's pretty different then to like Malaysia.
I guess Asian cultures for anime is a lot easier to have access to, especially if you want to build like a whole like, remember like back then when you had those folders full of CDs, and like piracy culture like back then was unregulated, so you had like all these pirated and burnt CDs at the night market. You can just go and buy it for like what,
Oh my god.
Oh,
five? How much is 5 ringgit back then? Less than like 20 cents now, I guess. And like you can just get like 1, 2, 3 CDs. Just go home and enjoy it.
Oh, that was a core memory.
It is a core memory.
I feel like I guess it really speaks to like in Australia, like you just don't have like you just don't have access to that sort of stuff,
Asian culture or
or like I guess the lack of like that sort of alternative in Australia kind of makes us turn towards games. It's more the mainstream, or like the go-to thing.
Yeah.
Versus because you guys had the, you guys are happy to burn your CDs.
I mean, we had a lot of like CD, DVDs shops when I was younger. I remember there's like, if you go to like an Asian suburb, it's like the bubble tea place plus the DVD shops that you buy those like legal ones.
Ah, I actually do. I remember like the boxes.
Yeah, you have like, they always have like the tables full of like just random as like series, and then it was just like at the back it would be serving drinks. That's just like my image of it.
like a dingy, like illegal back alley. You have to like have a secret knocking code word to get a CD from like the latest One Piece episode.
But yeah, I don't know if there was really much like anime with those like CDs and DVDs.
yeah.
I think it was like just like Asian shows, I guess, more like, not really anime.
Yeah, because I don't know if my memory's just fuzzy, but I don't remember, like, I don't recall any anime either in those shops in Indonesia. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, any Indonesian people listening. But also, I say that because a lot of my cousins who are, like, reaching their 30s now, my entire family is infested with weebs, by the way. But they were all, like, pandemic weebs. I remember when I first got into Attack on Titan, they kept on asking me, like, where do you watch that kind of stuff?
We're about to finish it up here. It's been a pretty interesting episode, I think. Got a lot of different viewpoints.
4
perspectives on
weebs
it.
in a room.
All right, well, thanks, guys. That's it for Max Chats episode 2, season 5. Thanks for joining us, and see you guys later. Bye.
ADY Nami's not shy. Usopp's doing that marksman thing. Sanji's cooking. Chopper's doctoring. Set sail for One Piece. It's the name of the treasure in the Grand Line. Set sail for One Piece.